So hi there, my name is Edmond Scanlon. I'm the Group CEO of Kerry Group PLC. I'm based in Ireland and I've been working with Kerry for 26 years and I've been CEO of the company for the last 5 years. So a general trend that we have seen globally is that consumers, no matter where they're at, whether they're in the US, whether they're in the UK, whether they're here in India, Southeast Asia, it doesn't really matter. Generally speaking, consumers are looking for products that are a little bit healthier. So, and I would say that this trend has accelerated through COVID and since we are about to, let's say, exit COVID in time. So what we've seen is that consumers have become much more health conscious, and it depends on the demographic. It might depend on the economic means and different things like this. But ultimately, consumers are looking for products that are a little bit healthier. So the easiest way that we think about that, or the best way we think about it, is products that have, on the one hand, less sugar, salt, and fat, and on the other hand, products that maybe have some functional benefits. But to talk first maybe about products that have less sugar, salt, and fat. In many instances, going back maybe over the last 10 or 20 years, we've seen many companies actually just reduce little by little the amount of sugar, salt, and fat in the product. And certainly that's been a good journey for many food and beverage manufacturers. And the reality was that the technology was not there to enable those food and beverage manufacturers to make big steps in reducing sugar, salt, and fat. Because as many people would be very well aware, when you adjust sugar, salt, or fat in a product, you're also going to impact the taste of the product. You might also impact actually the shelf life of the product, the texture of the product. So it is only really in recent years that science has moved forward in such a way that allows companies to make more step changes in the levels of sugar, salt, and fat. What also we've seen happening on a global basis is regulators and governments pushing a little bit harder on food and beverage manufacturers to reduce the amount of sugar, salt, and fat in products. This might be done through, a traffic light system like what we've seen in the UK, maybe sugar taxes, maybe the eco-score system we've seen, Nutri-Score systems. Many countries have different ways of looking at, let's say, categorizing products from a health perspective. Animal-based protein is going to get more and more expensive over time. And the demand, nonetheless, for that protein is also going to increase, which is going to further increase the cost of animal-based protein. So today, in many instances, the plant-based protein alternatives are still a little bit more expensive than the animal-based proteins. We think over time parity will be achieved between plant-based proteins and animal-based proteins. There are many reasons why plant-based protein is a trend. One of them is from, let's say, an animal welfare perspective. There's other aspects from a climate perspective. There's aspects from a, let's say, a nutritional perspective. And I think what we're seeing from a consumer standpoint is that thoughts about plant-based food today versus maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago have changed. Of course, here in the Indian market, there's a huge population that are vegetarians, and in other parts of the world, this plant-based food started out as being food for vegetarians. What we've seen in recent years is that consumers want to reduce the amount of animal protein that they're consuming, and therefore are more open-minded at looking at both dairy and meat alternatives. And that's what we have seen in most other countries, that it is the alternatives to dairy protein, the alternatives to meat protein that is driving growth in this category. But nonetheless, it's a new category. There is still, I would say, some challenges from a taste perspective. There's some challenges from a texture perspective, from a labeling standpoint, and consumers are looking for cleaner label type plant-based food, better tasting, better texture. So it requires a science-based approach. Then on the other hand, we see the dietary supplement market. And in the dietary supplement market, what we've seen is that the bar is constantly being raised in terms of the efficacy of the product, the clinically proven benefits of the product, the level of science that's required to bring the product to market. So I think that consumers are getting more educated about the real benefits of the products that they're consuming. They're doing some research, they're doing online research, and they're understanding the products a little bit better. So Kerry started out as a small co-op, dairy co-op in Ireland, in the southwest corner of Ireland in 1972. So we're actually 50 years old this year and celebrating our 50-year anniversary this year. And we started out as a company that developed casein from milk and subsequently selling that casein into the US market. From there, we entered the US market. We saw that as a fantastic food and beverage, let's say, business and saw lots of opportunities for Kerry to develop ingredients, different types of ingredient technologies, taste technologies into the food and beverage market. And we work with all the major food and beverage manufacturers globally. We became a public company in 1988, and that allowed us then to grow our business globally. We came into Asia 25 years ago, and we entered India in 2008. Kerry entered India in 2008, and we started out by putting an application center and a development center into the Gurgaon area of Delhi. That's where we saw a lot of the major food companies already established. We decided to put our first entry into the market there to work with those customers, understand the needs of those customers, and understand the needs of the Indian population. Then in 2010, we embarked on building a new manufacturing facility in the north of India, again to support our customer base here locally. From there, we decided to build an even bigger research, development and application center in the Bangalore area. Again, as we expanded our consumer base, expanded our customer base, expanded our portfolio. And then in 2018, we opened up a new manufacturing facility in the south. So for us, having a manufacturing facility in the north, having a manufacturing facility in the south, having a development and application center in the south, a development and application center in the north, is important. And we've subsequently decided to continue to invest in India. We see the market as being very dynamic, a growing market, and we see a premiumization also coming in the market, whereby the technology that we develop can be incorporated into food and beverage products in this market. From being here this week and meeting a lot of our partners in the week I've been here, a key message from those partners is the concept of localization. I think that all our partners are looking for companies that can support them locally with their full range of products and also can manufacture locally as well. And that's obviously from a supply chain perspective. The supply chain globally has been under a lot of stress over the last couple of years for lots of geopolitical reasons and other reasons. So having a local presence is critically important to our customers here in India. So we have committed this week to continue to invest in our business, expand both our facilities in the north and in the south to localize more of the technical capability. It will also enable us to transfer technology from the US, from Europe, into this region so we can better partner with customers that want to meet the needs of their consumers in India.